I don't know about you guys, but I find all of this discourse surrounding Trump and Canada to be extremely interesting and entertaining. Because, on one hand, when Trump refers to Trudeau as governor or he refers to Canada as a state, you know that he's trolling. He does stuff like that on purpose to get under people's skin. Because Trump knows that the media and the left, they overreact to everything he says and does. I'm not sure if he was as good at playing the media during his first term as he is now, because now he is a seasoned vet. But if you've been paying attention to this discourse, you probably realize that on one hand, Trump is halfway joking about turning Canada into another state. But on the other hand, Trump is being dead serious. He's floating the idea out there, purposely joking around about it to poke fun at Trudeau and the left. But at the same time, he's like, yeah, but, if you don't want to take this as a joke, we can do this seriously. It's like when someone comes to you with a proposition, and when you laugh the proposition off, they laugh it off as well, when in reality they were being dead serious. That's kind of what's going on here. Trump is halfway joking, halfway using this to troll people. But on the other hand, he's kind of being serious. Like, hey, if you guys do want to be a state, you'll be the greatest state ever. The most beautiful state ever. And if you look at how much money we send them, listen, I don't need or necessarily want Canada to become a state at all. I think Canada should remain Canada. But if you look at some of the money and all of the money we've been sending to them and things along those lines, it kind of makes sense for the U.S. to kind of absorb Canada and places like Greenland, if you really look at it. But at the same time, it's not needed in my opinion. But I want you guys to hear what Trump just had to say about this today, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
No, I'm not. Look, we've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all. Aluminum or steel or cars. We're not going to bend. We've been ripped off as a country for many, many years. We've been subjected to costs that we shouldn't be subjected to. In the case of Canada, we're spending $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada. I have many friends in Canada. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, the great. How good is Wayne Gretzky? He's the great one. But we have, I know many people from Canada that are good friends of mine. But, the United States can't subsidize a country for $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. We don't need anything that they give. We do it because we want to be helpful. But it comes a point when you just can't do that. You have to run your own country. And to be honest with you, Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. As a state, it would be one of the great states anyway. This would be the most incredible country visually. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the U.S. Just a straight artificial line. Somebody did it a long time ago, many, many decades ago, and makes no sense. It's so perfect as a great and cherished state. Keeping "O Canada," the national anthem. I love it. I think it's great. Keep it. But it'll be for the state, one of our greatest states. Maybe our greatest state. But why should we subsidize another country for $200 billion? It costs us $200 billion a year. And again, we don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We have more than they do. We don't need anything. We don't need their cars. I'd much rather make the cars here. And there's not a thing that we need. Now, there'll be a little disruption, but it won't be very long. but they need us. We really don't need them. And we have to do this. I'm sorry, we have to do this. Yes.
Trump is right. Canada does have the great Wayne Gretzky. And that is reason enough for us to make Canada a state. But all jokes aside, in all seriousness, Trump is right. If a country cannot exist without the U.S. pouring billions and billions of dollars into it, then that's not a real country. Maybe that country shouldn't exist in the first place. If your country can't exist, if your country can simply not function without billions and billions of dollars from the United States, then what's the purpose of you being a country? Every country, listen, I know that some people need help. Some countries need more help than others. I get it. But every country should be able to stand on their own if they want to be acknowledged as a country. And when you have a country like Canada that is trying to soak up all the benefits of being a state of the United States, then yeah, maybe we should be having this conversation. Now, I made it clear at the beginning of this video that I don't really want Canada to become part of the United States. But if you look at the reality of the situation financially, and even if you look at like the military and military protection and things along those lines, it doesn't really make sense for Canada to be a country. And I know that sounds weird because we're used to Canada being a country. But Canada has taken advantage of the relationship they have with the United States, and Canada has become really dependent on the United States to simply exist. And if at the very least we can get these various countries, Canada being one of them, to be more independent, then I think that's better for us all. Because what's the point in having all of these allies when in reality these allies rely on us and we don't rely on them? I think that we need to have a more even playing field. We need to be getting the help from these countries that we're giving them. But for now, you guys let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.